Hey channel, Fernando from SkyFi Audio. I noticed I haven't done a video on a vintage piece of audio gear in quite some time. I've been focused on so many great new products from Klipsch and McIntosh that these are kind of fallen aside. And as I was walking through the shop today, I said, this is the one. I gotta share this with people. This Kenwood L-07D is an incredible turntable. It is 1980s vintage. It is rock solid, built like a tank. And we've restored it to absolute perfection. So I'm going to take 10 or 15 minutes to show you what we've done and the highlights and features of this model. Weighing in at a staggering almost 90 pounds, the L-07D was released in 1979. It uses a crazy combination of materials. For example, die-cast aluminum, stainless steel, and this area here is said to have some sort of mahogany structure or some sort of variant on a mahogany structure. This is cast aluminum, hence its weight. The Tonearm is supposed to have both boron, carbon fiber, aluminum, and some other crazy material in it. And look at this connector here. This is really a military spec connector. I've never seen anything so beefy on a turntable. I'm going to take that off so you can see it. There's got to be 20 pins in there. Now, today it's not uncommon to see a turntable with two Tonearms, but back in the 1970s it was quite unusual. And here we have a plate, which they call it a subarm space cover, that essentially gives you the guidelines for mounting a second Tonearm. Now, I'd love to get my hands on another one of these. I saw one come and go on eBay. I missed it. But if you guys know where I could get another one, I'd love to upgrade this to a two turntable unit. External power supplies, you can see we've done quite a bit of work on that, and I'll go over that in a bit. Comes with an interesting dust cover, which protects only the record. Looks like an aluminum piece on acrylic. And the platter is pretty special. I know this piece is machined and balanced aluminum, and this must be some sort of steel, stainless steel of sorts. It's so heavy that it comes with lifting handles, and that's a good indication of its weight. Operation is pretty simple. On here we've got essentially just on, off, and then the speed selector. Same on the front of the unit. But we also have a dynamic parameter range, which I don't know what it means, but I did read somewhere that this thing compensates, has sort of dampener compensation system in that adjusts for temperature of the viscosity of the oil, and some crazy thing like that. If you know what that means, do leave it in the comments for me. Now it is finished in a very unusual two-tone gray, almost like a Japanese battleship inspired coloring. Power supply matches the top, and then this is in a lighter sort of bronzy finish. Let me show you operation here. Pretty simple stuff. You've got a button that turns it on, and you'll see, I hope you can make this out, that 33 turns green almost immediately. So that is from a standstill. If I push it, it's green already. It's less than 2 seconds. This might actually be a faster spool up time than the SL-1200. And then the speed goes to 45 and goes green almost immediately, which is essentially the quartz lock kicking in. So there, and it's already locked. There and locked. The speed to 45, the change from 33 to 45 is absolutely insane. I've never seen anything this fast. I'll show it to you. So that's 33 and already locked at 45. Having a closer look at the Tonearm, the first thing you'll notice is this lever here. This is almost like a ratcheting wrench. You'll notice that we've got a wheel here for setting the vertical tracking angle. So that's the height of the Tonearm. And it says here that one revolution, actually 0.1 millimeter per revolution. That means that if I go around once, it's a 1/10 of a millimeter. So I would have to go around 10 times to just adjust this thing by 1 millimeter height-wise. So this is an amazing way to dial in the vertical tracking angle. I've never seen this on a turntable, at least not with this sort of precision. And then once you arrive where you want to be, this lever here, if you push down on it, you can actually see some of the internal gears moving, and you do this several times as an internal clamp essentially secures the Tonearm shaft in place, or the upper structure. So if you do this 3 or 4 times, actually I'm going the wrong direction. If you do this now 5 or 6 times, you will get to a lock position. You start feeling the resistance, and then right there is our lock position. This brings back into place. The lifter is a pretty standard affair, oil-filled lifter. And then let's look at the counterweight. The counterweight has a really neat sort of graduated ring in it. So the black adjustment allows you to zero it out, while the silver moves the counterweight forward and backwards. Here's the Tonearm with all the exotic materials in it. I'd love to see a cross-section of that. I don't have the original head shell. It looked to be some sort of step design head shell. I've got a sort of generic one here in place, so I'm going to be looking for that. The anti-skate structure is pretty standard. It looks like a counterweight affair. And here I've got the little pins with the filaments that attach to it. And it is essentially adjusted by moving this weight in and out. So it must have some sort of spring resistance that keeps it in place. All right, looks like the bearing adjustment is here for the arm itself. And that little noise that you hear is essentially it securing back into the holder. It's not obviously the bearing. All right, for the adjustment, the feet, obviously getting this thing leveled is no easy affair, but we've got knobs here that allow us to do that. Now the knobs are really hard to turn when there's weight on it because we've got almost 70 pounds, so you kind of have to lift it slightly to make the adjustment here, but this is how you level it. And they've included a really neat bubble level right here, and they're specifying the range to be 0 to 12 millimeters for our height. All right, looking at the back of the unit, there's really not much else happening here other than the Kenwood logo and the serial number being 62. This was a very low production machine. As you can imagine, this cost a fortune back in the early 80s. All right, looking at the power supply, I'm going to turn this off and show you inside. And this is where our work had to be done. You see, I purchased this turntable probably 5 years ago, if not even longer. And it was always in very, very nice condition, but I would notice that every hour or so, the quartz light would lose its place. It would actually go red for a second or two and then go back to green, which had me concerned. So I never really marketed the turntable. I put it aside. I took a couple stabs at fixing the power supply in this by replacing a couple capacitors. Still didn't do it. So then finally I entrusted our lead technician, Ben, to tackle it. We purchased a kit to restore almost all of the capacitors on here, and he just went one by one. And check this out, how obsessive compulsive we're out here. This is all the parts he ordered in order to kind of be ready to tackle it. A bunch of ICs. He ordered some removable IC sockets so we could take them in and out of the board. And this is the process of identifying and replacing all the boards, all the capacitors and components that needed to be replaced. There's a great service manual available online, which was a blessing, along with a great website that details a lot about the L-07D. I'll put a link in the comments in case you're interested. And the result was essentially a perfect running drive unit. This is what we ended up replacing. These are all the capacitors. Ben said there was a couple IC chips as well that were responsible for the selection between 33 and 45 that ended up getting socketed and then replaced. And these are some of the mica capacitors that had actually failed. So I'm glad we did all this work. This is what's necessary for a machine of this vintage to get to the reliability level that we're known for here at SkyFi. So next I'm going to load up a cartridge offline and experience this turntable. I've been waiting years and years to hear this for the first time. I'm going to do that in the next week or two, and then we'll put it up for sale to find a new owner. If it in fact goes for sale, we'll put a link for it below. SkyFiAudio.com is our website where you can see not only this turntable, but hundreds and hundreds of items. This is our crazy workshop where we store a lot of stuff. This is, for example, a collection of McIntosh equipment that's already been restored. We have tons of turntables from Technics and other vendors. Our tech area, I'll give you a glimpse. I imagine if you're interested in these sort of tables, you might be interested in seeing what our tech area looks like. This is where I sit. This is Ben's desk, all our parts. Here's our calibration bench where we calibrate turntables. And this is the sort of center island where all the projects happen, intake, restoration, etc. So SkyFiAudio.com is where you'll find all of this stuff. I appreciate you watching. Please leave a comment. I know there's a ton of people out there that know a ton of information about the L-07. If there's some sort of anecdote or some technical feature that you want to clarify or share, I'd love a comment from you. Thank you, guys.